Kia ora, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the very first episode of the Ultimate Growth Experience podcast. I am joined by my mentor and good friend, Dale Sidebottom. How you going, mate?
Leo, really good, thanks, buddy. Thanks for having me, mate. Really excited for episode number 1.
Yeah,
Great
thank
stuff.
you very much. Thank you very much. And so I'd like to start off by asking, so how did you become a success? So,
Become a success.
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm a success yet, mate, but for me, finding things that I'm passionate about. So I always loved PE and at school, so then I became a PE teacher and I really enjoyed that. I love working with young kids every day, being able to help them create positive habits that will hopefully create them being lifelong learners. And from there, I created my first mobile app about 8 years ago, and then I got this little bit of a bug of sort of the entrepreneur bug, and since then I created another 30 odd apps. I started a few other businesses, and now, I work for myself. I run a couple of different companies, and one's Energetic Education, another one's Jugar Life, and Bottoms Up Fitness. And basically, they're a whole method of just helping people try and provide a better life and make things fun. And I think that's my model. And you would have seen over the last month with me that everything we try and do, we make it fun and enjoyable. And I think when you're enjoying something, then success comes. So if I am successful, it's probably because I love what I'm doing.
Because you always talk about how in recent times not a lot of people play and not a lot of people really go out there and enjoy life in general.
Yeah.
And so what is your message to people like that? Because, at the moment we see a lot of people that are struggling to find their purpose in life. They're at the house just looking at Netflix or something like that. And, less and less people are really finding their way of growth. Yep. If that makes sense. So what would you say to them?
Yeah, well, I suppose going back to the first thing was play. And if you haven't really heard much about play, there's a fantastic TED talk by Dr. Stuart Brown, and he's also got a great book called Play. And obviously being a teacher, I was around play a lot, and I never really realised the benefits of it until I stepped out of the school system. And what I found was, as kids, all they do all day is play, Leo. They're happy, they're running around, they're with their friends, they're playing, they're making games up. Whereas the older we get, life takes over. We get a mortgage, we get a job, we get a family, and the last thing we end up doing is playing. And I know it sounds pretty full on, but when you stop playing, you sort of start dying. That creative juice goes, and we need play to evolve as humans. So I recommend playing for 20 minutes a day, and that could be anything. It could be playing Xbox, that's fine. It could be playing Candy Crush, Fortnite, could be shooting a basketball, could be making a game, throwing a frisbee with your dog. It could be anything. As long as you're getting outside, playing a game, because when you're playing, you're present. Right, and there's so much thing on mindfulness now, and meditation is a great way to be mindful, but also playing, because you're in the moment, you're present, you're not thinking about how many emails you've got to reply to, or what you're going to have for dinner, or if you're going to go on that holiday next month. You're actually thinking about what you're doing, you're in the present moment, and it's a really powerful way to do it. So if you're not currently playing, I would try and structure that into your day, and a really good way to do that is set time aside in your diary. And before I had you for the last month, I would set aside 20 minutes a day. I'd either go shoot the basketball, I'd go for a walk, I'd go to the gym, I'd do something to break my day up. And it wasn't always play, but I'd incorporate something in there, because the busier we get, the last thing we end up doing is that play, that spontaneous sort of thing that we need to be creative. So if you're not doing that, I would highly recommend putting that in there. And to answer the second part of your question, I suppose it's really finding something that you love doing. And I know you're very passionate about a few different things, so it doesn't feel like work for you. And I guarantee if people are in a bit of a slump or they don't know their purpose, then I recommend writing down 3 things you love doing most. And that could be anything. It could be painting, it could be knitting, it could be doing clay, it could be sewing, could be reading, could be anything. And I guarantee that if you are passionate about those, start doing those, writing a blog, start doing a YouTube channel, or just something because you're passionate about and you love it. And I can guarantee once you do more, the more you do, the bigger following you'll get. And it's not about the money, but the money will come because you're passionate about it, right? And you're actually enjoying doing it. Whereas if you're creating something just to make money, people will see straight through that. Whereas if you're authentic and you love what you're doing, then you'll find a way to make that into a profitable side hustle if you want. Or it'll just get you out of that slump. Because I know for myself, I started doing boot camps just because I love doing it. And I did it for a year and a half for free. because I wanted to do it. In that year and a half, I learned so much about business. I learned what I needed to do. So then when I turned it into a business, it was profitable. So I know I've gone on a little bit of a tangent ramble there, but
great.
I think there's a lot of different things there that just find something you love doing and you know, you can make a job out of it with the internet, with social media, so many platforms these days that just do what you want to do. If you're not enjoying life, life's too short. You get one shot at this, Leo. So my big advice is find that one thing you love and push for it.
And the main points that Dale mentioned here is basically mindfulness and also trying to find what really turns you on, in the words of Warren Buffett, and really striving to find something that you're really passionate about, that you could do day to day, week to week, and month to month. And the fact of the matter is that a lot of people just live a very sad and mundane sort of life instead of doing something that they might have loved as a child, for example.
Yeah.
And so I get that message.
Yeah, they do, and I don't think they realise that that's happening. You just sort of get in these slumps, and I've been in those slumps too, Leo, and it's very easy to stay in those. It's harder to actually step outside and do something, but the rewards, the satisfaction, the happiness that come when each day you get up, and I get up at 4:20 every morning, and it doesn't feel like a job for me because I'm going to do things I love, that I'm passionate about, I'm helping people, and I feel like I've got a purpose now, whereas if I'm not saying I didn't enjoy teaching, but there was days where I'd be like, oh, I've got to go to work. Whereas I don't feel that anymore. I actually want to get up. I want to do the things I'm doing because I love doing it.
And as you can see, guys, that Dale is really passionate of being a successful entrepreneur, running multiple businesses, but also he's happy about life. He has something that drives him forward. He's helping people become mentally, physically, spiritually stronger and living day to day in the present moment. And so that's what I really admire about Dale. So speaking of routines and day-to-day activities, what is your daily routine like?
Yeah, so great question. And for people out there that I don't recommend getting up as early as I do, but that's the time I need to get up in the morning to start my day in the right way, I suppose, before I have to start working. You know, so
4 a.m.
So I get up at 4:20 during the week, Leo, and that gives me enough time to meditate for 10 minutes. And I just use a simple app called Headspace, which is fantastic. I've just got the yearly subscription, and it works really well for me. There's so many out there, you know, and this is the best one that I've found. I've used other ones like Calm and things like that, but Headspace has been the one that's really clicked for me and I like it. So I'll do a 10-minute meditation. I then have created my own app called Jugar Life. So that's Jugar Life. And that's available for free on iTunes at the moment. We are working on an Android version as we speak, so maybe by the time this episode's out, it might be there. And basically what that is an app to start your day and finish your day in a positive way. And there's 3 questions in the morning that I answer, and what am I looking forward to for today? So I'm able to plan what the exciting things are. And for example, I was excited for this podcast today. I'm excited because it's going to be a sunny day and I get to be outside training clients and releasing a podcast of my own. And then the second question is, what might be a struggle today? And I think by identifying that early, that I'm able to be aware of that. And more often than not, that's the first thing I'll try and get out of the way, or I'll get it over and done with because I've written it down. I don't want that to hamper my day. Yeah. And then the last question is, how can I be kind or giving to somebody else to make their day better? And that's one thing I'm really big on at the moment, is trying to make somebody else's day better, or trying to make them smile or do something nice for them, because I call it the happiness boomerang. You give out kindness and happiness comes back in gratitude. And what it ends up doing is it makes me feel really good as well. So it may sound a little bit selfish, but by putting other people first and making them feel special, it's helping me out. So once I do that, I then have a couple of coffees, I have a bit of water, and I go through my emails, and then, I'm on the road and ready to get started for the day, mate. So that's my morning routine. It took me a while. It took me about 6 months to figure out how that works for me, and setting my alarm a little bit early. I was getting up at 4:30, but then to go to 4:20, I thought, no, you know what, that extra 10 minutes has been crucial, because that's when I get to meditate, and it really sets me up. And I find that I've got a lot more energy now. I'm present, I'm excited, and I'm ready to attack the day, Leo. So that's my morning routine, mate.
I mean, that's just amazing. I mean, because most people have difficulty sticking to a routine, sticking to some sort of habit, and so it's just fantastic just to see more and more people like you out there, Dale.
Yeah,
and I'm sure my New Zealand listeners will be aware that he mentioned his app, Jugar Life. It's available on the App Store.
Yeah, on iTunes at the moment.
Yeah, I hope you all check it out.
Thanks,
so, the very next question for you is, how do you keep yourself in really good shape? I mean, because, most people struggle just going to the gym, going for a run. I mean, playing 20 minutes of basketball and waking up at 4:20 in the morning and doing all that. I mean, how do you do all that and just keep yourself in physical shape?
Yeah, well, I'm pretty fortunate with my job. So in the morning and evenings, running group fitness sessions and personal training stuff.
Yeah.
So I do get a little bit of exercise there. But what I've found now with the entrepreneur stuff is that I'm on my computer a lot during the day. So again, setting time aside for myself, and I schedule that in my diary. And that is a non-negotiable, because if I'm not doing that, then I'm a bit of a fraud, I think, because I'm promoting this happy life to other people and healthy life. So if I'm not actually doing that myself, I don't feel comfortable with what I'm actually practicing and preaching. And another big thing is, I know I've got you on my diet, but that I prepare all my meals and that they're pretty similar. It works for me, and I feel that by putting the right fuel into my body, I'm able to get the most out of the day. Whereas if I'm not prepared, or I've got to go buy my lunch and things like that, I'm not getting the right amount of fuel to push through the days. I'm doing 16, 17-hour days, and they can be quite stressful and large and strenuous. But if I keep to my routines and I eat right and I get a little bit of exercise, then I'm able to push through the day. So that's really important for me, Leo.
Yeah, I mean, you do intermittent fasting as well, don't you?
I do, depending. I didn't this morning, for example, just because I had a really late night last night doing a really long podcast, and then up this morning. So I probably haven't had enough sleep, and then busy morning. So some days I won't, but when I can, I've been doing that. I've probably been doing that for 2 months now, 2 or 3 months, and I find it was a little bit hard at the start. It was a little bit shaky and things like that, but I'm finding that I'm still able to get enough food, and I don't need to eat all the time. And I just felt a little bit sluggish previously when I was just constantly eating. So I know you're big on this as well. And, what are some of the benefits that you found with yourself?
Well, I mean, I've done all kinds of intermittent fasting techniques before. I've done the 16 to 8. I've done 20 to 4. I've done 24-hour fasting before. And before I arrived in Melbourne, before even meeting you, I did a 48-hour one before as well.
Wow.
And the fact is that it's really good for fat loss. There's all kinds of YouTubers and experts, and for example, Dr. Jason Fung goes through the benefits in terms of what it does to our hormones, testosterone, human growth hormones, how it lowers our insulin really low, which allows us to become a fat-burning machine. There are all kinds of benefits that I found through intermittent fasting, which obviously makes me feel, look, and makes me feel happier, and that's the main reason why I do it on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis.
And I like that, and I get a lot of questions about this with clients and things like that, and I say find something that works for you, because what works for Leo, what works for Dale isn't going to work for everyone else.
Correct.
So, and there's not one size fits all. It's like different diets, different eating plans. Everybody's different. Everybody's body's made up differently and needs different fuel, because you're exceeding. Some people are a lot more energetic than others. Some people may only get 1,000 steps a day. So they're not going to need to eat as much as, say, yourself and me, who will probably get up with 20,000 today, of what we're going to do later on. So I think that's really important that you put that in consideration too. Yeah,
precisely. And also you believe in the high-intensity training sort of mechanisms, because that's what I've noticed in your boot camp. So why do that? Why do high-intensity training?
High-intensity interval training, the HIIT approach, it gets results. People are active, they're having fun, they're always moving, get a sweat on, and particularly a lot of people come to my boot camp because they want to lose weight, all right? And I found that HIIT training definitely does that. And not only that, it's a really fun sort of training. There's no waiting around. Like at a gym, you might do 10 reps or 12 reps and you might wait a couple of minutes. There's no time for that, and the way it's structured, you make it fun, enjoyable, everyone's having a good time. It's over and done within 45 minutes. And people see results. So that's why a lot of group sessions and boot camps will use that approach.
And I'm sure I'll do one tonight as well after this podcast, which is fantastic. So can you give our listeners an example of a client that you know who has made great gains or great losses in terms of fat or muscle or anything like that? Like,
Yeah,
what
so
are your clients?
I've been doing it for 5 years now. So I've had a number of clients that have turned up. They've committed to 3 or 4 sessions a week, and they start training. What ends up happening is the snowball effect that they're like, wow, this training's good. Then they want to get their diet right. So I've had multiple clients lose 10, 15, 20 kilos, you know, which is it's not because of me, it's a credit to them that they're sticking to this, they're doing the training and they're eating right. And that's the thing, if you want to lose weight or you want to tone up or you want to put on muscle, it's not just about training. If you're not eating right as well, then it's really a no-pointer. You know, you've got to do both and they go hand in hand. So I've found that making my sessions fun, and I think that's a big key here. If you can make whatever you're doing in life fun, like if you're painting the house, if you're doing cooking, if it's fun and enjoyable, you're going to want to do it. Whereas if it's not, people aren't going to come back. So particularly fitness, a lot of people don't like it. So if you can make it an experience, I use play-based fitness as well. So a little bit of what I mentioned earlier, and people get great results because they're having fun while they're seeing results. They're losing weight, they're toning up, and they're part of the community. So it's a sort of a really nice little combination.
I mean, no wonder that your clients are getting in shape because they're enjoying a lot, and I'm sure that it's great, isn't it? Yeah. So I got another question, and that is, what's your ultimate goal at the end of the day? You're doing well, you're having a good life, you're running businesses, you're keeping yourself in shape, you're running 5 different businesses, you've worked with me for about a month, and I've learned a lot from you as well. And so, what's the end goal? Is it to be like Gary Vaynerchuk or Grant Cardone or any of the big entrepreneurs in the YouTube world? Or,
I don't think it's, at the end of the day, I just want to make the world a better place. And for me, I've recently, and I spoke about this a lot in a lot of the keynotes I've done lately and presentations, that I was always chasing success. I'll be happy when I get a certain amount of money. I'll be happy when I get a promotion. I'll be happy when I release an app. I'll be happy when I buy a house. And what ended up happening was I was never present. I was never in the moment. And I've had a big sort of change in my philosophy and what I'm doing. And my goal now is just to make each day better than what it was yesterday, and to inspire people and help people out. Because when you're helping people around you and you're getting people results and making them happier, it ends up making you happier inside. So I've found that I've got things I love doing and I want to keep doing them more, and more people are liking that. So with that, I'm getting a bigger profile, and which is great. And my ultimate goal is just to help as many people as I can and try and increase people's happiness, awareness, and just make the world a better place. And I know that's a little bit cliche, but I don't really have any goals where I want to go or who I want to be. I want to be Dale Sidebottom, and I want to be my own person, and I think I'm creating my own brand. And that's sort of, I don't have any aspirations to be anyone, but I do want to make the world a better place. And that's what I'm trying to do, hopefully.
If I could sum up what you just said, you're essentially saying to our listeners that you want to become the best version of yourself.
Mate, and that's why you're very good at what you do, Leo, because you've just condensed 2 minutes of my rambling into one sentence, so you've done that well.
No. I mean, I have my own adversities. I have things that I don't know about. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. I'm a 21-year-old, and this is just part of the journey, I guess, and I'm learning a lot from you, Dale, so I'd like to thank you so much for that. So listeners, if you want to follow Dale on Twitter, it's at Dale Sidebottom.
That's it.
At Dale Sidebottom. And also you have a podcast yourself, yes?
Yeah, so my podcast is called Energetic Radio. So that's 2 different words, Energetic Radio. And I get a number of different guests. I have athletes on there, I have authors. I've got entrepreneurs, business coaches, life coaches, anyone that's I think can add value to people or improve people's lives in a certain way. And I must admit, that's why, Leo, I'm very proud of you for starting this podcast, because you will get to speak to some really good people as you go, and
thank you.
You learn so much through doing that. So, and I think that's what I've been able to do with my podcast.
Yes, absolutely. So back to the happiness boomerang.
Yep.
And Jugar Life. So tell me why you started these 2 key ideas into your life and your business.
Yeah, well, I spoke about this one of the keynotes you came to, that I went through probably 2 years ago. I went through a really rough patch in my life. I was at the age, I think I was 31 or 30, and divorced. I had nowhere to live, And that was all my own doing, that I was chasing happiness in all the wrong areas, and I was so passionate and driven to be successful, and that I wanted to succeed in life. And what I ended up doing, I failed in so many other areas because I wasn't happy. And slowly but surely, I started rebuilding my life, and I found that using 4 things a day really helped that. And that was having play in my day, exercising, practicing gratitude, and having some form of giving or kindness. And through that, I put that into this app, Jugar Life, and so other people can use the method that I went through to get my life back on track. And what I've basically done is I've just documented that in a book now that you've helped me out with, which I'm really grateful for. And
no, not really.
You've done a really good job. And it's basically my story, talking about that hitting the rocks, hitting the real lows, which I did, and then what I've done to change that, and how I know it's not great to hit rock bottom, but I'm sort of grateful that I have, because my life is so much better than what it ever was before. And I realise that items are great, and don't get me wrong, like I like having a nice house, watches, but I like having these things, but again, they're not the things that make me happy. All right, it's enjoying what I'm doing, enjoying the people I'm with, and just being in the moment, not thinking about what I'm doing next week. And I've found ways to do that, and it's been a little bit different, and I call it a little bit of play-based mindfulness. So I know mindfulness is huge at the moment, and you're a very good meditator as well, and I know you've got into that, but I find best that I am really present when I'm playing games or making games up or just having fun. So I've tried to incorporate that into everything I do, and if people want to check that out, I suppose they can.
Yeah, absolutely. And people, the point that Dale and I have been talking about throughout the last something minutes is the fact that we need to live present in the moment, and that's what Sam Harris and many authors and columnists talk about all the time, is that too many people think too much about the past and anxious about the future. And the fact is that you only have this 1 second or 1/10 of a second to be able to embrace and really be present in whatever the heck you do, whether if you're hitting the gym, whether if you're reading a book, whether if you're talking to somebody. Happiness really comes from that second-to-second psychological attention and being purposeful in that place at that time.
Yeah, well, it does, mate. And like, you might not even be here tomorrow. I'm not saying that you're not going to, but how do we know what's going to happen when we go outside today?
Yeah, exactly.
Anything could happen. So if you're so worried about what you're going to do tomorrow or when you're going to go on that holiday, and it's nice to have these things because they're rewards. I always recommend people having a holiday because it gives me something to work hard towards, because I'm excited for it, but I'm not hating every minute of my life waiting for that holiday. Because then what ended up happening was I'd go on a holiday and I wouldn't enjoy it because I was thinking about when I get back when I was going to work. And it was just a constant snowball, and I was using up so much energy and nervous energy and tension because I was never present. And like Leo said, you don't know what's going to happen. So if you're not enjoying day-to-day life, I would highly recommend finding something that makes you mindful, present, and you can enjoy every single day on this planet.
And that's the reason why a lot of people get into instant gratification, don't they? I mean, for example, we mentioned this before, they get into drugs, marijuana, and maybe other forms of escapism. I mean, I think that's the best way to say it, escapism.
Yeah, I do too. And I think alcohol and drugs are a great way to do that. They give you that instant hit, but then when it wears off, what happens? You go back to where you were, or probably worse.
You crave it again.
Yeah, and like I used to use alcohol a lot for that sort of same reason, that it would give me that hit out. But then again, when I got out of it, it was nearly worse than when I started. So I still enjoy a beer, and you've seen that, Leo. I enjoy a beer. I think it's a great way to unwind and socialise, but I don't rely on that now to escape my life. I'm happy with every part of it. So I think that's the important sort of message there.
So if I sum up what you meant, moderation's the key word, isn't it? Not necessarily...
Definitely.
Too less of it might be a little bit boring, but too much of it could be devastating.
Correct.
If I could sum it up.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's everything in life. Moderation's all about being balanced. Having a balanced lifestyle is important. Work, life, family, social, travel, everything's in moderation, I feel.
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
I would like to thank Dale for being part of my very first podcast. Thank you very much, Dale. And if you'd like to check him out, obviously I'll leave his details in the description below. Thank you, Dale.
No worries, Leo, and well done, mate. Great effort with your first podcast. I'm really excited to see where this goes.
Thank
you. Just from working with you the last month, mate, you are a go-getter. A 21-year-old, there was no way known I'd be doing anything like this, so I'm really excited to see where this goes. And guys, hit subscribe, listen to Leo, because I can guarantee he'll have some fantastic guests coming up in the coming weeks. Cheers,
Awesome.
mate.
Thank you.